Here's something nobody in the confidence space wants to say out loud. And it's the more you learn about confidence tricks, the harder it gets to actually connect with people. Now, I know that sounds backwards, but stay with me. You know that friend, you probably have a guy, he's that one in the group, right? He goes out, he walks straight up to strangers, no hesitation, right? He's got a line for everything, right? And he looks like the most confident guy in the room. But if you put him somewhere where those moves don't apply, for example, at work, maybe his manager pulls him into the office and the conversation goes sideways. Maybe his girl brings up something he's been avoiding, right? He goes quiet because there was never anything underneath, right? And that's what this video is about. You see, you can get good at looking confident and have none of the other. So I want to show you the difference between what I call costume confidence and core confidence and what each one looks like so we can see where each one fails, right? And what it actually takes to build the real thing. So let me tell you about something that I figured out, and it took me way too long to figure out because when I was building my photography business years ago, I had a pretty good portfolio, right? But getting sales was painfully slow. Like I was running magazine ads, Facebook ads, I was doing wedding shows. Like I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing to get the phone ringing, but I was just hearing crickets, right? And it got so bad that I actually called my own cell from like a different phone just to make sure the line was working, right? And that's where I was, right? Not exactly a high point, I admit, but eventually things started moving, right? And I managed to drag a few clients through my door, but that's when my next problem showed up because converting those meetings, those prospects to actual bookings is a different thing. So I did what anyone would do. So I started reading sales books. I started watching videos. I was, taking courses, picking up techniques, right? And I'd watch these videos and I'd try to mimic the techniques, like how to mirror somebody's body language and match their energy, pace my voice to theirs, right? And all of it is designed to build rapport fast and quickly. And I thought like, it was like, this is the magic sauce. Like this is what I need to bring in sales. So when I had my next few clients sitting right across from me in my home office, I just completely seized up. Like it got into my head because I was consciously thinking about whether am I mirroring their posture correctly? Like I was just running this mental checklist in my head. And all the while I've got a bride sitting in front of me, like telling him about her childhood dreams, right? And she's been picturing this her whole life, right? Like when you're busy and you're trying to remote control the performance, right? You're trying to like just dial everything in. You can't actually listen. And listening is the whole job, right? Like you have to understand what the other person needs, right? Before you can offer them anything real, right? And you can't do that when half your brain is trying to manage the technique, right? The tricks weren't making me more confident. They were making me more distracted, right? And they were getting in the way of the thing they were supposed to be helping me do, right? And that's when I came across a guy named Todd Herman. He wrote a really cool book called The Alter Ego Effect, right? And he talks about the mask, right? And it's this deliberate persona that you put on when you perform at your highest level, right? And so we've heard about Beyonce, like she has Sasha Fierce, like that's her alter, or Kobe Bryant had like the Black Mamba, right? And the idea is that when you consciously choose a character to step into, right, when the stakes are high and the concept is real, it works, but only when it's sitting on top of something that's really solid, right? And here's what I see what most guys go through, right? They're wearing the mask, right? And they've never really thought about who the guy is underneath. Like, who is he actually, right? So here are the two things that I need you to understand. The first is what I call the costume confidence, and it's external, right? It's clearly external because it's the lines, right? It's the body language, the energy you project, and it's learnable and it's fast. And, in the right situations, like first impressions or, just casual like encounters, low stakes, just short interactions, it works. It generally does work. But the second is what I call like core confidence, right? And that's internal, right? And it's there, that internal stuff where not when none of the tricks are available, right? It's like when the conversation goes somewhere you didn't expect it or you didn't prepare for it, right? Like when you're sitting with someone who actually knows you and the room goes quiet, right? Most guys who go looking for confidence, they start with the costume, right? Like, why not? It makes sense. It's fast, it's visible, right? You can pull up a 10-minute, a 5-10 minute YouTube video right now, and you can try those things tonight, right? And I did that exactly, but you're here, right? And that tells me you've probably already sensed, right? The tricks alone aren't the whole answer. Like, because here's what happens, like when you just stack costume confidence on top of nothing, right? It works in the room, right? At the club, but you feel that gap the second you leave, right? So here's how you know which one you're running on, right? So I want you to think about the time when you feel most confident, right? Is it with strangers? Is it people maybe you'll never see them again? Or is it just as easy with people who you actually know, right? But for a lot of guys, those two things are not the same, right? The guy who's at the party, living it up, but then he goes quiet the second, that instance when someone close to him pushes back on something real, right? And that's the tell. Because the guy who's great at first impressions, but dreads like anything that runs long or goes off script or goes deep, it's the same thing, right? And if you felt that gap, like that's the difference between how you show up with people who don't know you versus people who do, right? That's not a personality thing. Like that's the costume, right? So what builds the real thing, right? So for me, it wasn't a book. It wasn't a conference. It wasn't like a long video. It was something boring, but it was more effective than either of those things, right? It was just low stake reps, right? Just low stakes reps. And it's not about a big sales meeting or, a high pressure situation where everything's on the line, right? You can't wait for those moments to figure this out. So I'm talking about just being with the cashier at the store or in the checkout, right? Or maybe you're at the train station or the airport, right? Or maybe you're just at the game, right? Maybe it's just a stranger you bump into at the baseball game, right? It could be just someone you're standing next to on the bus at the bus stop or in the checkout. And anytime I was near another person, I'd try to notice something about that moment. And I'd say something genuine, right? And there's no opener prepared. There was no technique, right? It was just present and real. And doing these things day after day, like the reps add up for me, right? They added up for me. So they can stack up for you too, right? And it's not because you're getting better at it, like the one line or the one liner, right? It's because you're building self-belief, right? Just one interaction at a time, right? And that self-belief is the core thing, right? And that quiet sense of, I got this, like I can do this. That's the thing that people actually feel from you, right? Because you're not being loud, right? You're grounded and you trust yourself, right? So I had a wedding couple reach out to me about their wedding, and they were actually coming from the States. They were getting married in Muskoka, which is a nice area up here. And we had an initial phone call, and then we had a video call. And by the time they came up and I had them over to my office, and we just sat down and we just talked like for an hour. And it was almost as if we're just catching up with old friends. There was no posturing. There was no like lines. I wasn't thinking about the sale. Like I was just there, like genuinely interested in what their story was and what they had to say and the ideas that we wanted to talk about and what they wanted. And I remember like after they left, I was thinking like, I actually enjoyed that. Like it was fun. I was looking forward to seeing them again. And that's the shift, right? So when you stop like managing the performance in the moment and you actually trust yourself, the conversation stops being like just something to get through. And it starts being something you want to be in, because it's not about you anymore, right? It's about whether you have something that can genuinely help the person that you're talking with or that you're in front of, right? And that's a much lighter thing to show up for, right? There's no stress, but I want to be clear, right? Like I'm not saying that rapport tricks are useless. Like don't get me wrong, like matching someone's energy like lowering your own tension so the other people feels at ease, like a firm handshake, a smile, right? All of that is real, right? But when someone feels comfortable around you, they'll open up, right? And when they open up, real connection's possible, right? But it only works in the delivery, right? And the delivery only feels natural, like when you're not consciously running it or controlling it, right? So when core confidence is actually there, the tricks stop being something that you're doing or performing, right? Like a circus, right? They start being something who you just are, right? It's just natural, right? So you're not thinking about your posture. You're not thinking about tracking your voice and mimicking them. And you're not, trying to pretend. You're just in the conversation, right? And that more than any technique is what people actually feel from you. So the quick recap, let's go over the three things to take away from this. One is there's a difference between costume confidence and core confidence, right? Again, costume confidence is external. It's tricks, the lines, the moves, like the surface level stuff. But core is internal, right? It's what's there when none of that is available, right? And most guys spend all their time on one, right? And they wonder why the gap never closes. So number two is the costume breaks down where it matters most, right? And it's not with strangers, with people who know you, right? Not in the easy wins, right? It's in those long, real, like high stakes moments when there's no script going on, right? Number three, core confidence is built through low stakes, just boring ass, just reps done consistently, right? So again, if you're at the cashier, you're in the checkout, maybe you see a stranger at the gym, right? And build that up until your self-belief is genuinely there, right? Then the tricks, if you use them, they'll land naturally, right? Because you're not thinking about them anymore, right? So if this hit home for you, go ahead and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.